Come to, I would say, this very important session on airlines, the theme being the potential growth of air connectivity. Before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Pradeep Singh Kharola, and about a good 5 years back, I was the Civil Aviation Secretary, and before that, I was CMD Air India. Well, I'm extremely grateful to the Ministry of Civil Aviation, the Wings, FICCI, and all of you that I'm present with all of you over here. It's really I'm overawed by the daunting presence of the luminaries of the aviation sector. And as you all know, we are from the aviation sector. And in that aviation system, the most important subsystem is the airlines. And we are from that subsystem. A very important one, very critical one, we are the ones who carry passengers. We are the one who deliver the actual services. The other sectors are helping us out. But it is we who face the brunt. It is most of the time, we get the brickbats. Sometimes we do get some bouquets also. It is we who face all the challenges. It is we who face all the uncertainties. Now, in this entire aviation sector, the only subsystem which faces all the uncertainties is the airline sector. And that's what makes this sector the most difficult, but at the same time, the most challenging and the most interesting. And that's why, if I can say that, the most competent people are in this sector. So we have this session in front of us. What I propose is that we just have about 60 minutes, and we have lined up about 12 speakers. Now, that's going to be a hard stop after 60 minutes. And what I was thinking was that, let it not be a very structured one. We all know the problems and all. We have the list of speakers. What I would suggest is that each speaker may confine his talk to just 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes, followed by an interaction of 2 to 3 minutes. So I propose that the moment the speaker finishes his talk, we can have the question and answer session then only. This will ensure that all of us get adequate time to speak. And my only request is that if all the points being made should be sector specific, they should be common to the sector. We'll not be discussing any individual organization or any individual company and all. So with these few guidelines, we can set the ball rolling. And I have a small request from Thai Airways that they have some important meeting to attend. And as it is, they are our guest. So may I request Mr. Chai Imasiri, CEO Thai Airways, to present his views.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. It's my pleasure to be here in the fourth largest economy in the world. And India has been in our focus for more than 50 years between Thai Airways, Thailand, and India. We fly to 8 cities in India. End of the year, it will be 12 cities. And currently, we fly about 78 frequency per week to total India. It will be 100 by end of the year. We're receiving a lot of passengers from India to Thailand. Last year, you are the third largest traveler into Thailand, and contributing the growth is about 22% growth, huge growth. So I think India is a big opportunity, both from yourself and Thailand. We voluntarily to be one of the connector from Thailand to India and India to Thailand, and connect your passenger and Thai passenger to the other side of the world. We also putting our new fleet into India. Last week, we put an Airbus 321neo, the new, totally new production aircraft, to India, and more to come. This year, we're receiving another 16 of Airbus 321neo. Delhi will be the one. We put more flight. Hyderabad also, this Hyderabad, we put that new aircraft in, replacing the Airbus 330-01. Ahmedabad also, the new aircraft will coming in. So, no question, India will be one of the most important part economy in Asia. I think we are in the same family. 3 hours, 4 hour flight seem to be long, but a relation between Thai and India is very close. We had a lot of Indian migrants into Thailand, and they are moving, connecting each other during the past 60, 70 years back. I still confident that India would be the leading role to move the importance of Asia to be one of the fast-growing area. And another point, not only the air connectivity, but also the broader picture. We have to admit that India very good in R&D, research and development. Thai, we are good in the manufacturing. I think this is very good marriage between two countries, and even more chance to the airliner to make a connectivity between Thai and India. So that's my view, and I think we, at the end, broader picture again, Thai, India, and the rest of ASEAN country should be stick together. Otherwise, to be alone, very difficult to counterback with the other trade barriers. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Any questions, please? I think Mr. Emasiri has mentioned that India is going to be a big market. Thailand is a neighboring country. They have a big airline. And we have a bright future for both of us. So any questions on this, please? If none, then can I ask a question?
Yep.
You know, we have the Thai Airways, we have the Indian carriers. Do you think in future the two carriers, the big carriers of two countries would be competing, or is there a way of collaboration between the two carriers?
Oh, we sit next to each other.
Well, that's the first step of collaboration.
We are the same family.
Yeah.
We are the Star Alliance partner.
Yeah.
Then no, we are not. Of course, there are some. We cannot deny some certain extent we are the competitors. But in some area we can be colleagues. We can be partner. And ally doesn't mean that we have to compete each other. In some certain extent, yes. In some certain carrier, yes. But we already decided we are married.
Okay.
We are the
Good.
same family. So we are not that direct competitors. Yes.
Okay. So wish you a very happy marriage with
Yeah.
between the two airlines.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Emasiri. Now we know that airlines cannot fly without an aircraft. So may I request the President and MD, Airbus India, Mr. Jürgen Westermeier, please.
Thank you very much, and also giving me the opportunity here to speak in the airline panel. And I would like to start with a few takes on how we Airbus see India. And I like to say Airbus, India is not a market, but we see it as a land of opportunities. India is the world's fastest growing domestic aviation market, and it also is already established with a lot of competencies in engineering, digital engineering, and we see now the second step of the success story unfolding. India is really making great strides, at least at 2 counts. First, the Indian carriers are, one can say, aspiring big. They are thinking bold and acting firm, and are on their way to execute their international ambitions. We are sure they will be well positioned as a true and formidable international carrier well before the end of this decade. And we are also sure that the share of Indian carriers in international travel will grow consistently, and we see an additional growth lever with the regional connectivity. What is, I would say, important in India, and we heard it in the last panel where Kampel said, what do you need? They need aircraft on time, they need the services on time, they need the parts on time, they need the MRO on time. So our ambition at Airbus is that we support the growth of the aerospace ecosystem in a comprehensive way across all dimensions, so starting from manufacturing, assembly, maintenance, engineering, digital, leasing and training. We are doing this with military C295 FAL, but also with H125 helicopter FAL. We were able in the last 5 years to triple our sourcing volume, introducing real make in India manufacturing up to complex parts as doors, and I see a continuous trend in this direction. So really well established. We are supporting the skilling of people. We are connected with the GMR. We are connected with Gati Shakti University. We have 2 training centers, one in joint venture with Air India. So 14 simulators for pilot training. So all this support of the ecosystem to really support this growth ambition, to support the demand, the need of flying in India. Maybe you asked the question, what support we see additional, where the government can support. So aerospace manufacturing is, and this is not a secret, inherently capital intensive. So a universal production-linked incentive scheme applicable to across all aircraft types is, in my opinion, essential for scaling domestic manufacturing capacity. In terms of aerospace manufacturing, the highest value lies in design and development. So I'm asking also that we support with skilling initiatives, that the manufacturers, the component manufacturers, grow from build to spec, from build to print to build to spec. And similarly, I think it would be very helpful for industry if the infrastructure industry status for the aviation sector could be declared, because this, in my opinion, would really unlock the full potential of the sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any questions, observations, suggestions? I think the engine is warming up. So I think Mr. Westermeyer has promised us aircrafts on time, maintenance time, and all those things. May I add one more component? When does manufacturing of components, subsystems, and aircraft happen in India?
It's already happening today. The C295, and I think this is a really great learning opportunity for the Indian market, and it's the same people. We will have the entry into service of the first Indian C295 aircraft in the Q3 of this year, so a great achievement. And for manufacturing, we are today, I had just the announcement very recently, introducing the A220 doors, fully made in India, in record time. The Indian suppliers, in a collaborative way, and this is really the key collaborative way, industrialized more than 7,100 parts, and top-notch quality, top-notch performance, new AI systems to really supervise the product quality. So I see a bright future when we roll this out to have more and more local parts.
Thank you. Next we have our dear Indigo Airlines. And as you all know that Indigo is the best example of making airlines accessible. When I say accessible, it is both in terms of affordability, also in terms of physical proximity. Now, today, as we all know, Indigo runs about 60% of market. Places unheard of have been brought onto our aviation map. So we have Mr. R.K. Singh, Special Director, and with Mr. R.K. Singh, well, he's the only person I can take liberty of calling him by first name, because he's a dear friend of mine, my colleague. We have worked together for almost 30 years. So R.K., go ahead.
Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you so much. And this is for 2 minutes. The 2 minutes is a very short period of time. But let me try and do justice to only one thought that I have as an airline, as an Indigo airline, and which is you are right that we have expanded very rapidly, expanded fast, and we have tried our best to always provide a very affordable fare, which also goes on to induce the market, and that is how sort of we have seen. But so two things which I would like to underline here. One is the, continued pressures on the cost structure of an airline in India is very challenging. It's a very, very price-sensitive market, a very, very price-sensitive market, and to induce the market and to grow the market, we always are required to have a very conducive cost structure. And we can see that those cost structures are coming under continuous pressures for several reasons. So that is on the policy side, any help that can come by way of sort of keeping the cost structure and the focus. So I like the discussions here. Mostly you will hear the discussions on the airfares, but hardly any discussion on the cost structure of the airline. I think both the discussions should take place simultaneously together. Point number one. Point number two is I'll go a bit international now. So there is a cherished dream that India professes of having a great hub airport, and hub airport will obviously need a very strong hub airline. As all of you know, that both Air India and us Indigo, we have got pretty impressive orders for now wide body XLRs also. Our first XLR has started to Athens. So with all that, that on the aircraft side, that whatever we have done, we feel that it's the time for the Indian aviation to get its right spot in the global aviation map, which is missing. So just to give you an example, with all our narrow body emphasis, plus whatever Air India did, in a way, we kind of grew from a 30% market share on the international in the last about 5 years to almost 45% now, which is a remarkable thing. So which is to get to a 45% level of all the international market is a remarkable thing. But there is predominant emphasis which is actually in the regional international and not so much on the long haul. Of course, Air India is doing a lot of long haul, but this reflects in the revenue. By back of the envelope calculation is that while 45% market share is with Indian carriers, it translates to about 30% revenue share, because on the long haul we have still a long way to go. And there, sort of we also have our Airbus 350 orders. It's all public knowledge that it will start coming from 28. Now, here the level playing field becomes extremely crucial. And this is what we research, this is what we find. And where we sort of start possibly getting affected is that when we do not have a very level playing field with most of our strong competitors who have the regional hubs around us, it becomes very challenging. So whether we sort of without those level playing field structures, I'll give you one very, very small example. For instance, sort of the how, let us say, the taxation works. There's a taxation policy in India that a passenger is on an Indian carrier starting from, say, a city like Amritsar. When he comes to Delhi, and from Delhi he goes to London, he is actually 100%, he's an international passenger. He's not destined for Delhi. But on Amritsar to Delhi sector, he is taxed as a domestic, taxation policy will apply. And whilst a competitor airline from the Gulf Middle East would pick the passenger from Amritsar straight, become an international flight, and does not have no taxes on ATF and all that. So this is a very small example I'm giving, but things like this, start then coming in the way of the level playing field structure. And I think, if we really want to see a strong performance on the long haul, those level playing fields should be somehow be preserved, brought in, and a very close look at the cost structures of the airline should be the focus of the government. Thank you.
Thank you, RK. Any comments on this? Yes, please.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Tahir. I have one question for you, sir. So you were saying about passenger. So do you feel airline have a better visibility into aircraft rather than into passenger experience?
Can you be a little more specific? What is the question?
I was asking, do you feel airline have better visibility into aircraft than into passenger experience?
I think,
Not very clear. I mean,
we cannot juxtapose.
let's just explain the question. What do you want to say?
So I was just wanted to ask, the way you have more data or more data analytics related to aircraft, do you have the same data or analytics about passenger experience?
Yes. These two things should not be juxtaposed against each other. Both are quite independent of one another.
Okay.
And as far as analysis and the data tracking is concerned, both happen simultaneously and independently. So because the customer experience, as you know, is measured in airline industry through the NPS, Net Promoter Score. We have quite a big reliance on that Net Promoter Score on the passenger side. And of course, on the airline side, that's a data-driven decision all the time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we have an airline with which I get nostalgic about. So we have our own Air India. So may I request Mr. Campbell Wilson, the CEO and MD Air India, to share his thoughts.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. It was really interesting to hear RK's comments and his comments about the industry and the level playing field and putting this into context in the international sphere. Too often when we're at these events, people always ask me, so what about Indigo as your competitor? And I'm sure they all ask RK, what about Air India as your competitor? And I want to change that a little bit, that we are both Indian carriers. We are both flying within and from and to India. We are connecting India with other countries and trying to entice people from other countries to fly to and through India. We're investing in aircraft and service and brand and reputation to try and take a bigger slice of the global aviation pie. And when we do that, we bring more maintenance and more tourists and more hotels and more connectivity and more employment and more taxation revenue to India, presently, which is going to countries that are based around us, not within us. And so I think when we talk about growing India's aviation mindset or growing India's aviation landscape, we should look at it through the lens of national development and national connectivity and national economics and national social development. And so what we're asking for and what we're talking about is not selfish to make money. It's much, much bigger than that. And I think those of us that work for airlines sort of carry that as our mission, that there's something a little bit more to aviation than just making money or carrying passengers to and from. So the opportunity for India, I think you all know the macro story, the size of the population, the rate of economic growth, the size of the diaspora, the geographic opportunity to connect people through India. You know the size of the order book. Indian carriers represent 2 of the top 3 customers of Airbus. I think with the Indian carriers form at least the top 5 of Boeing's order book. You know, we're growing massively in terms of network and fleet over the next few years. The opportunity ahead of us is absolutely incredibly large, but it does require coordination to fully realize. The customer experience that people get traveling through Singapore, through Bangkok, through Dubai, through Doha is not the same as traveling from a city in India through many of the airports internationally. There is much that can be done digitally in terms of security process, in terms of physical journey, to make that journey better, to make us more competitive, and to bring that benefit back onto Indian soil. We do have our impediments, particularly airspace constraints that challenge us to the west, which do hold us back from expansion, at least profitable expansion. But I think in the longer span of time, these will be overcome. So to sum it all up, I think the opportunity of Indian aviation is absolutely astonishing. The airlines, the airports, the ecosystem is doing its best to realize that opportunity, and that opportunity really is one that is for national benefit more than anything else.
Any questions, observations, please? Yes, please.
Hi all, this is John. When we discuss more about the cost pressures and other things in terms of fuel, taxes and other things in terms of maintenance, just wanted to understand from your perspective if you can share some light on human capital impact or the investment that is needed for the human capital in the different airlines and how it impacts the availability of a lot of resources in your different departments, be it from engineering, maintenance, spread across.
I think one of the challenges that we face in India is that there's a lot of talented people. There's not a lot of talented people with deep aviation experience, particularly of airlines operating at scale at world-class standards. It is growing, but it's not quite at the level that I think we all want and need it to be. So there's a lot of investment that at least we as Air India, but other airlines as well, are making in training pilots to international standards through our own flying schools and through our own simulator facilities, of training our own aviation engineers through Aviation Engineer Training School in Bangalore, of putting our revenue management, other airline professional skills staff through training. But it'll take a long time because, I'll frankly say, Air India of the past, given its financial challenges over the last couple of decades, wasn't able to invest the same. It wasn't growing and building the pipeline of people. It wasn't recruiting the new generation of talent. And so we need to get that flywheel going. So I think the talent pool of raw material is there. It just needs to be developed, refined, and built into something that is fit for purpose and of the sufficient size to support the airlines that we will have in the future. There has been nothing like the growth that India will see in aviation over the next 5-10 years. There's been nothing like that in the past. This is unprecedented and is going to require unprecedented effort to support.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Next, we have another from the Air India family only. We have Air India Express. And I was just looking at the figures. This is the only airline which has shown an explosive growth in terms of the number of aircraft held from 25 to 100, maybe in the last 3 to 4 years. So I'm quite totally unprecedented. May I request Mr. Alok Singh, who's a dear friend of mine, to share his thoughts on.
Thank you, Mr. Karola, and good afternoon, everyone. If I can take a step back at the last Wings, or since the last Wings India, the group has merged 2 low-cost airlines, and then we have grown 2x. So from the figure that you mentioned, that a fleet of 25 odd aircraft, we are today 100 plus. The reason why we have gotten here is one, that there has been a very supportive regulatory framework, a policy framework. We've collaborated with other partners in the industry, and that has led us to where we stand today. I think the question really is from here, from this point on, uh, how do we go forward? How do we go to the next phase of our journey? Not just as an airline, but as an industry. And while the demand is there, the growth continues to be robust. There is plenty of headroom to grow because the market is very underpenetrated. The supply side factors are, coming in, falling in place. But we still, I think, face some really deep structural challenges, and two of them were just talked about by Campbell and RK. One is the skilling issue. Despite the infrastructure that we are building on the training side, and my colleague Sunil is here who's put together a world-class training establishment, will we still have the capacity that we need to fuel the growth tomorrow, sitting as we are on some of the largest aircraft orders as an industry, for licensed folks, for management folks, for every other part of the ecosystem that is required to support growth of this scale. And the second is about the cost structure. And I think it is important for us, coming from the perspective of a low-cost airline. Again, RK mentioned about the sensitivity of the market to prices. The numbers that we have seen, the elasticity of demand for aviation is such that 100 rupee increase in ticket prices can suppress demand by 1.5 to 2 million. And growth is something that we all need. Of course, we can pass on the costs to the customer, but it will come at the cost of growth. Growth is something that all of us need. So I think we have to work together as industry to find ways to address these structural and really fundamental issues that can support us, that support the industry going forward for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Thank you.
Any questions, please? Yes, please.
Hi, this is Murthy Chitturi. I'm from the AP Star Hotel Association, General Secretary, and we are planning to start an FTO. So I see that there is, a lot of you have been talking about the skilling gap, and I've been hearing about it since morning. Now, in the hospitality space or in the pharma space, there's this concept of quality by design. Now, when I talk to a lot of pilots, they talk about and not just pilots, even other people in the aviation space who are getting trained, they talk about the quality and safety parameters in Indian skilling setups not to be of the global standards. So Air India has gone and started its own, planning to start its own school for pilots and other things. But what is the airline as the whole doing? Is it actually, I think a lot of times you have schools coming in and then they become part of the cadet programs. But why do airlines not actually work with the schools to ensure that the people coming out of these schools, whether it's pilots, whether it's air hostesses, whether it's all kind MRO staff, are at the level which you expect them to be, and actually facilitate this quality by design so that we are able to meet because the human capital takes time to build. Capital can be borrowed, but human capital takes time to build. How do we address that? So it's a question for Mr. Alok and Mr. Singh also. Thank you.
If I can go first, a fair point, but it's not an either-or question. I think the scale of requirement is so huge that no one entity or no one system can produce the quantity and the quality that we need going forward. And maybe Campbell, you might like to add, or Sunil might like to add to to the skilling side.
I think the FTO that we're establishing to develop our next generation of pilots, it probably won't be able to supply our full needs, so we will be partnering with third parties. When it comes to which third parties we partner with, it's like when you buy a car, you don't want to have to teach the person that built your car how to build it safely. You buy the car because they've got a reputation of building safe cars. And so I think the onus really is on the FTO organizations to build the processes and systems that deliver a quality and trustworthy product so that we can take it. And unfortunately, in this environment, it hasn't really been proven as regularly as we would hope, which is why, unfortunately, so many Indian pilots are being trained overseas. We don't want to train an Indian pilot overseas. We want to train them here. It's faster, cheaper, it's much more convenient for the pilot themselves. But we need to get our act together and be safe, consistent, and reliable.
RK, would you like to respond? His question is, what are airlines doing to ensure that the quality of the trained manpower we are getting is maintained or enhanced?
Indigo has followed a outsourced model. So Indigo, we have not created any infrastructure ourselves. So both for the cadet program, ab initio training, we rely on third-party partners, as also for the type rating, we rely on the third-party partners, FTOs. So our emphasis is that we have not remained in the process confined only to within India. India, we have certain challenges. Definitely, there are few schools where we see that the quality aspects are met as per our requirement, but in many schools it is not met. It is public knowledge that even when our regulator did an audit of all the training schools, the results are not so encouraging. It's not so good. We really have to come to world-class stage. So we have chosen then to partner with many of the international organizations outside India. Not a very happy situation. We would love that all this training comes back to India. Definitely we would like to. But as of now, on the quality aspects, we have to, because of the sheer size and numbers, we have to rely also on our international partners outside India.
Yes, please.
May I share? I think this is not only the India problems. I think most of the countries in the world have the same problem on the workforce. Airline, most of the people think airline business is very prestigious, high society, always good branding. But actually, at the back of the company, there's so many hardship on workers. Apron, the ground handler, technical. They work not in the aircon office. They work in the field. So the workforce have a choice to choose whether joining the airline or joining the others industry, which more comfortable working condition. So that's a problem. Another problem is the competition push airline to managing the cost. We cannot stand up and say, I pay you more, to dragging the workforce into the airline industry. We cannot do it because we got the pressure on the economics. So I think this is a key issue. We cannot be attract enough, or we cannot be sexy enough to get the workforce into our industry, because the workforce can have a choice to go to the others industry, which even more return, more income rather than the airline. What we did only few sector, like a technical. We go to the university and the vocational school to recruiting some skilled and competent student before they entering into the school or the university, and we give them the scholarship. Okay, because to study in aviation economy is quite expensive comparing to the other general academics. We financing them, and we have a bonding contract. Okay, after you graduate, you have to be with us for a certain period of time. At least we can holding him for them for a while. Yeah.
Thank you. Now we have Akasa Air. I would say one of the new entrants, and we have Mr. Vinay Dubey, the CEO of Akasa Air, sitting next to me, a great friend of mine. And well, he has the credit of running, if I may say, one of the biggest airlines of the country at one point of time. And after that, we both shared some tense moments. Anyway, I think all that ends well as well. And may I request Mr. Vinay Dubey to throw some light upon us?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, sir. I had some points written, but I would like to start with the question that was raised, and I was biting my tongue because the premise of your question was we don't have world-class safety, and you backtracked that to skilling prior to entering the airline, and I want to, as Akasa, actually fundamentally question the premise because I believe at Akasa we have world-class safety. We have just got our IOSA certification within 3 years. We have built safety from the ground up. We believe our flight operations standards, our training standards, the maintenance standards, the quality of the aircraft are second to none. Surely people can point out an aspect here or there that can be improved. You can do that for the finest airlines in the world. But our view is we will attack that the minute we understand where we are lagging world-class standards, such that the next time we meet here in Hyderabad 2 years from now, that's a non-issue. So from our perspective, it doesn't matter what the quality of the school is. It doesn't matter what the quality of the student is. At the end of the day, at Akasa, we are, and I as the accountable manager am responsible for world-class safety, and we take great pride in delivering it. Point number 2, I just hope, Campbell, as you and RK Singh talk the next time about bringing wonderful people into India, you don't forget about the fact that Akasa has 25% of its capacity now by ASK focused internationally. So we would love to be part of that conversation and contribute to the development of India and the Indian economy and the Indian aviation infrastructure. For us, we've got 32 aircraft. The 33rd one is on its way here. And life for us, like it is for Indigo and has been for 19 years. 19 years, and certainly for the last 3 or 4 years, Alok, and then for Air India for the rest of its life, it's about growth. My colleagues have pointed out a number of items that are necessary for growth. We've talked about, policy, development. We've talked about development of physical infrastructure. I'm extremely happy and supportive of the fact that we talked about costs, because without a profitable and sustainably profitable aviation infrastructure, you don't get stability and growth. Perhaps the only thing I can add to this is the development of aircraft financing options and airline-related financing options. Today, most of those are done through foreign banks and foreign third-party leasing entities. Certainly, we've got a really good thing going in terms of Gift City, but we need the Indian financial institutions to be able to help with local financing options such that it can influence the growth of aviation here in India. So I'll end with that.
Good. You touched a new dimension. Now, may I request the CEO of Star Air, Mr. Simran Singh Tiwana, if Mr. Tiwana remembers that we were together on the first flight of Star Air from Gulbarga to Bangalore.
I do,
Please
sir.
go ahead.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to see you here, sir, and thank you for hosting this. So, like most of the industry has already spoken about international, even wide bodies and narrow bodies, the XRs as well. I would just speak about something that we have been ardently, meticulously focused on for the last 7 years. We just completed our 7 years into existence of our first flight, which Sir just mentioned 2 days back. Today, we have been able to demonstrate that there is a demand that exists in untapped cities, untapped airports. We are seeing that the government's focus is increasing on increasing connectivity to rural, smaller, tier 2, tier 3 cities. And that's where we operate as Star Air. When Sir was the Honorable Secretary in his time, he was holding our hands and telling us these are the cities that will fuel the bottom of the pyramid of growth of air travel many years from now. And at that point of time, that's what we focused. And now we see that a lot of our passengers, carry 223 kg baggages coming into Bangalore or to Mumbai. And we don't have an interline or a code share right now, but we know for a fact that we are feeding into some of the bigger carriers, irrespective of which that carrier is. And that tells us that a passenger sitting in a small city like Kolhapur, Belgavi, Nanded, or Kishangarh today, some of these airports, many of us would not know the names, have the aspiration or the potential, and the rapidly increasing middle class population that we have is now aspiring to travel international, and they want a world class experience. And that experience can only be provided if we merge together our resources that are available. Envision that a passenger sitting in a small landlocked place or smaller airports. We've recently visited Jorhat, so in the northeast, right? The connectivity of the entire northeast is hinged at Kolkata today for international connections. Right, but we see massive potential coming out, not only a few cities or just the northeast, but all over India. And that bottom pyramid would eventually feed a lot of this growth going international. And I think there needs to be a solid discussion on the cost structures, which Mr. R.K. has already pointed out. Because when we visit an airport and we try and find a parking, we know the dimension of our aircraft. It's not a code C aircraft, it's a smaller aircraft, but the airport marking exists only, the minimum is for an ATR or a Q400. Maybe we can better use the infrastructure that's available if we plan with the airlines a little better and plan the parking bays somewhat smaller for smaller aircraft. There's so much focus now that the government is giving on even the smaller aircraft, the 9-seater or the 19-seater aircraft. They don't need a full code C bay to be parked. We park at non-approved bays, tomorrow there can be insurance concerns. So I think there needs to be a little more collaboration, which is happening today. The cost structure on the aero side as well, or the turnaround ground handling today or airport charges are fixed per flight. When we pay something fixed flight ourselves with 80 passengers and a 200-seat aircraft, the cost burden on per passenger increases. I think there needs to be some thought on those lines as well. Our cost structures are very different per passenger as compared to a larger aircraft. But I think we fuel something which lies at the bottom of the pyramid, and it's important to be nurtured well and potentially will help all the other players as well.
Okay, thank you. Any thoughts on this? The point he's making is that smaller airlines, especially smaller aircraft, require special treatment. Any thoughts on that? Maybe what has been your experience in your operations in the last 4 years about these small aircraft?
Phenomenal, sir. We have been delivering almost 80% load factor. We start a town, we give a gestation period of about 6 months to see how the route picks up. And we are seeing that there is a gradual shift of passengers when they see that sustainable flight services have started on a particular route. Nanded, for example, is one airport which, when we started, had nil flights for past 8 years, and today we connect Nanded by 6 flights a day. And we are seeing that the potential and the aspiration of people to travel, that the people are saying now we need a flight from Nanded to Goa as well, right? Which we initially never thought that people would spend that kind of money to go to a tourist destination, but there is potential, and we are now going to tap that as well.
Thank you. Yes, please.
I would like to actually agree with Mr. Tiwana because I come from the hospitality sector. So we represent about 60 3, 4, 5-star hotels in Andhra Pradesh. So in Andhra, we see that flight connectivity is limited to, let's say, Tirupati, Vijayawada, and Vizag. But if Kakinada were to have an airport, the place where I come from, I'm sure a lot of us would fly to a lot of different destinations for facilitating business. So smaller aircraft, I think smaller aircraft with less number of passengers, if that is going to boost tourism, people-to-people connectivity, and small businesses. So I think there should be a policy which helps this because it's going to really make flying more accessible, and I think it's going to be a very, very big boost for internal tourism.
Thank you. Next, we have the Regional Vice President of Asia Pacific International Air Transport Association, IATA, Mr. Sheldon He.
Thank you, Mr. Karola, for this opportunity to speak. First of all, I would like to support my colleagues from the industry in calling for a relook at the structural costs for aviation. This is not just an Indian airline problem. I believe this is a problem for the industry as a whole. And the fact that just in 2025, for example, average load factors were 85%, but globally, and including in Asia Pacific, but net margins for carriers were around the vicinity of 2.3% to 3.7%, 3.9%, depending on which part of the world. I think it reflects that there is a significant structural challenge, especially in relation to costs and operating costs within India as well, that can be looked at. Perhaps I might also like to offer a view on connectivity. And there's been discussions and thoughts about the importance of connectivity and how powerful connectivity is as a productivity enabler and as an economic enabler for different parts of the country. This has been seen worldwide in many different markets, and we strongly believe that connectivity is key to the value of aviation for India. And if we look at the region as a whole, we would like to suggest also that the Asia-Pacific region in the last year grew by 7.8% in revenue passenger kilometer terms. And this by far exceeded growth in any other region in the world. And a lot of that growth was intra-Asia. And if we look at some of the geopolitical considerations that are happening in the world today, I would also suggest that there is an opportunity for intra-ASEAN and intra-ASEAN or Asia to ASEAN traffic growth to actually underpin some of the potential growth for India and for the aviation market in general. So these are areas that perhaps could lead to questions on how could we improve connectivity within Asia? How could we strengthen connectivity between smaller cities and other markets within this part of the world? And how can we actually remove the structural impediments that make it difficult to be sustainable and to grow successfully over the long term? So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheldon He. Can we have some comments on this? I think that IATA is an association of all the airlines. So, no questions? Maybe if I can ask a question. Do you find that these air services agreement between different countries, and I'm sure you must have done a lot of research on that, do you find that our carriers have been getting a fair deal in India as far as the air services agreement with different countries are concerned?
Bilateral agreements evolve over time, as you are well aware, and I think often reflect the economic realities of the relationship between countries. I think IATA's position is that we favor a liberal bilateral sort of framework. We generally believe that any kind of distortion of market demand and supply is probably not ideal, and it's detrimental to the health of the industry in the longer term. That said, of course, we also understand that over the years, different countries have grown at different speeds, and therefore there are often congestion challenges in airports around the world, and in countries around the world that might not be the same. A country that's growing rapidly would often have a lot more available capacity for growth relative to one that's more mature. But I think that there are systems in place that IATA has helped to champion, one of which is to encourage transparency in terms of slots, for example, at congested airports, or in terms of encouraging investment in additional capacity, especially to growing markets, to help in some ways create opportunities for all. So to some degree, I'm not quite addressing the question directly, but I would believe that as the industry grows, there should be win-win opportunities for all, which would be more than what would be the benefit to individual players if we adopted a more protective regime.
Thank you very much. I think you have rightly done what IATA should have done, not enter into contentious issues. So may I request some airlines to react on this point, whether
Sure,
Indian carriers have been getting a fair deal?
So let me offer my point of view, sir. See you, Campbell. So, most, if not all, of the Indian Air Services Agreement have an equal number of seats from both parties. That is the minimum one can expect, and there are not many air services agreement around the world that actually have a lopsided distribution of seats. It tends to be X for you and X for you. It's not a X for you and 2X for us. So from that perspective, I don't think we've got an unfair distribution. I will tell you where perhaps we don't have the fairest advantage is today what you see is our air services agreement that require a distribution of our seats between metros and non-metros. So we find ourselves having to fly from, let's say, a tier 2 city into a Singapore, or a tier 2 city, which is a non-metro, into a Doha, or a tier 2 city into a Abu Dhabi, or a tier 2 city into Dubai, just as an example. So we're flying from a tier 2 city, which is not a hub of any Indian airline. By the way, this is not just Nakasa. I'm speaking on behalf of all airlines, right? So you're flying from a non-hub in India to a competitor's foreign hub. Whereas the competitor can fly for these cities from any city in India into a hub, and so they're able to really take advantage of the hub at one end. So when in our air services agreement, when you don't provide the Indian carrier the ability to freely fly from a point of strength in India, you are handicapping the airline. So if I were to say, where perhaps our air services agreement maybe handicap the Indian carrier, it's from the perspective of restricting us or in some cases requiring us to fly from points that are not points of strength or non-hubs in India.
So this is a subject that airlines can discuss till the cows come home, and we can never come to a conclusion on it. But I think to your point, the bilateral agreements are akin to trade agreements. And they are bilateral in nature. So two sides, two sovereign entities discuss the rights, and the considerations are many. What is underpinning this is equal opportunities and a balance of benefits. So if the rights granted are higher than the demand that two countries need, or if the rights granted are used by one airline or one entity to serve markets which are not point to point, then there is a problem for the Indian carriers. Because what it means is that your traffic is going to flow over a hub instead of flowing over your own hub in Mumbai or in Delhi or in Bangalore or in Hyderabad. And I think that is where the fundamental issue lies as far as the Indian carriers are concerned. So by all means, we support a liberal entitlement regime, but we should also keep in mind the investments that are being made by Indian carriers. And at this stage of the growth, if the entitlements or the rights granted to other countries, and of course we all know that some amount of the rights will be used to, what we call sixth freedom and, carry traffic onward. But if this is predominantly used to serve those markets, then it hits the Indian carriers. And the investments that are being made by Indian carriers are going to go waste. So that's the area
Thank you. I think a point well made. When I think we had the Airbus speaking, how can Boeing be far behind? So may I request Mr. Ashwin Naidu, Managing Director, Commercial Marketing, Eurasia and Indian Subcontinent, Boeing.
Thank you, Secretary. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I am honored to represent Boeing at this panel. Great discussions already. I would say two things that I would like to talk about. One is what Boeing is excited about looking at India over the next 10 to 20 years, and then what we are doing to invest and commit. So I think the biggest opportunity from our perspective is that since the early 90s, this next few years is going to be the most transformational in Indian aviation. Because for the first time, we have Mumbai and Delhi that are going to receive and have received brand new airports for the first time in over 35 years since Indian aviation got privatized. That in itself is going to very dramatically transform the network structure of Indian aviation the way we know it. It's going to cause a redesign, and therein lies a lot of opportunity. And in that redesign, it's going to be very interesting to see how the tier 2, the tier 3, the emerging tiers and the hubs and the network structures will change, because as we know, over a third of all flights, roughly a third, touch Delhi or Mumbai at one point. And so that dramatic transformation that's going to take place over the next several years is very exciting in how air connectivity is going to change in India. The second one that we are very excited about is how do we take the millions and millions of passengers that India tends to export to foreign carriers who go and fly out of those hubs to Europe and North America and connect within India. I think we've all talked about it quite a bit, but the real story is how do airlines, who are all represented here on this panel, how do they design such seamless network structures that you almost compel a passenger to say, wow, I could go to a foreign hub, but you know what? This is the easiest way, connect within India. So just trying to get that restructuring of the network structures over the next few years is a super exciting opportunity for Indian aviation. And the competitive advantage for Indian carriers is right here in the home market. We're not relying on other markets. We have it right here. So those are exciting opportunities. From a Boeing perspective, what are we looking at in terms of Indian aviation? We are committed to providing our customers, many of them who are here, with the right airplane for the right market, with the product line that we have that spans all the way from the 737 MAX to the 777X, as well as freighters. The second thing that we are doing is we continue to invest in training, capability, building supply chains in India. We have got a facility right here in Hyderabad with Tata Boeing Aerospace Limited. So we invest in India with our customers, we invest with our suppliers, and finally we also invest in our communities, working closely across the length and breadth of India with non-profit organizations in terms of working with our communities to make sure that we bring everyone together along on this journey. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Any questions?
Hi. Since we are just talking about the connectivity between the routes, so what is the impact that you see the urban air mobility would have once it starts connecting between tier 2 and tier 3 cities for a big aircraft manufacturers?
Okay, that's a great question. I think that's, again, a very big untapped opportunity, but it's still very much in its development phase. We see tremendous potential. From a Boeing perspective, we have a prototype product that we are studying, evaluating, which is our own autonomous product Whisk. In fact, if you were to go to the Boeing booth here, we have a VR demo of what that product looks like. And so we believe that that potential is huge in India, and it may not take place in the next few years, but in the 2030s, we can see a lot of synergies between urban mobility vehicles, whether they are piloted or even autonomous, and the synergies between them and the mainline carriers. Thank you.
Good. Why don't you highlight what all means? India has also opportunities for, you know, the human resource capability and how Boeing has been tapping it in the fields of designing and component manufacturer and all those activities.
Yes, absolutely. In terms of design and engineering, we are proud to have almost 7,000 employees in India, or more than 5,500 in Bangalore, and then in Delhi and Chennai. So we have a very robust and a thriving engineering skilling base where we rely on their technical expertise to help in building and designing aircraft in our factories. The second one is, like I described earlier, working with suppliers in building that high-value supply chain capability, that's whether it's floor beams, whether it's structures, and even that's very important steps along the journey to ensuring that you get that manufacturing know-how and the DNA built within your country.
Thank you. Can we have Mr. Chen Yuwen, Deputy CEO, Air Cambodia, our neighboring country?
Hi, everybody. I'm very pleased on behalf of the K6, the Air Cambodia, to join the WIN 2026 to share Air Cambodia's experience in the Indian market. And I think most of you maybe not heard about the Air Cambodia, so let me take some minutes to introduce ourselves. Actually, we are the Cambodia's national flag carrier, and the government also owns the majority share, and also invited some strategic partner to join together to run the company's national airlines. So we operating with the government support and also the market-oriented approach. And I have to say that India is a very new and important market for us. We just launched our New Delhi flight since 2024 June. And we also, but only less than 2 years, but we already get some very good result. Actually, in 2023, we only have 69,000 Indian people visit Cambodia. But after we joined this market, then we have, in 2024, we have a 20% increase. So I think that is a very good thing, good sign that if we invest, we try our best to develop and let the Indian people know, and I think they still have a hope. Yes, and during this period, I think that we, at the very beginning, I think our load factor, because maybe not so many people know us, at the very beginning, it's not very good, not very stable, but now it's getting better and better. Our load factor increased from the very beginning till now. We increased about 15%. So we are very full of the confidence to develop this market continually. And also, we also would like to increase our frequency. Now, currently, we only have 2 flights a week, and maybe in the winter season, we would like to increase to the 4. And we also have a plan to open the route to the Bombay. Yes, so we have a lot of plans for the Indian market. And there's also have a lot of newer airline joined. That's in 2025, the end of the year, the November. Indigo also joined this market. They opened a direct flight from Calcutta to the Siem Reap. You know, the Siem Reap is a very important tourism city of the Cambodia. We have a very famous and beautiful the Angkor Wat. Attract all the passengers from the world. And so looking ahead, the Air Cambodia is exploring the interline SPA and the potential co-share with our local Indian partner. So we hope through this way we can extend the connectivity into more Indian cities, not only in New Delhi. And for Air Cambodia, even we are with a very small fleet, and I think a national flag carrier can play a meaningful role in regional connectivity and the national development by our own way. Yeah.
Thank you. I think she has explained how India and Cambodia are getting connected. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we have Mr. Sanjeev, Asia Pacific CETA Vice President, basically dealing with information systems, and they happen to be the heart of all airline systems. So may I request you, Sanjeev, to throw some light on what all plans you have for India?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me, and it's a great opportunity to come back. So as you rightfully mentioned, so we'll be completely embedded, and I heard the great conversation over the last 60 minutes or so. I think that technology can play a big role, and then technology is a way to address specific growth, which we've been doing that in India, specifically on bringing the consistency and efficiency across the airport in terms of passenger check-in and processing the bags. So in terms of giving the same experience in the hub airport as well as the regional airports. So across 85 airports, we've been providing the passenger experience and passenger processing systems. And now almost about 27 airports, the DigiYatra, which has been a great hit, which is helping to reduce the greater burden on the airline in terms of how they handle passengers. So the passengers are able to check in and then arrive to the boarding gate within a fraction of minutes. So now the other part of the aspect of automation and digitalization, which we see, which is been happening quite widely. We've been working with Thai Airways, which is a great example, which I would like to bring that in Indian context. What we've been doing is an auto reflight, specifically for the hub airport. When the connecting flight, how do you transfer the bags efficiently? When the bags are left out, so that creates a massive mishandled bag and the expenses for the airline, claims and other stuff, and the passenger dissatisfaction. So those are things like in Thai Airways, 300 minutes of auto reflight, we can kind of reduce to 5 minutes. So that's a bag efficiency which can bring in and reduce the burden on the airline. Then the other automation, which is again, we are bringing to the aviation sector, specifically addressing the skills. I think we know on the airside operation is a heavy and hard work, and there is a shortage of the skilled resources. So where I think would like to see that how the autonomous fleet can be leveraged, and how do we use the robotics to do the loads and unloads of the bags, which is kind of happening in Singapore and other part of the economy, right? And this is where the greater experience and greater efficiency which we can bring. And then that means also is a lot less cost to the airline and the passenger. So this is the other aspect of robotization in the certain processes where we could. That is the other aspect of the efficiency which we are bringing in. Now, the third aspect which we are doing quite a bit within India is about the APOC or total airport management. So now bringing the data, because a lot of silo systems are being working within in the whole ecosystem, and then everybody is trying to do their best, but then the other person doesn't know what is going on. And this is where the collaboration, decision-making as a platform, and then also in India, for as a great example, that we could actually run an airport operation center for a smaller and the larger airport using a single pane of glass, and then you can bring the lot more cost efficiency. Because right now, a lot of the smaller airport has been using a manual or spreadsheet-based operation, which can be automated as well. So going from reactive to predictive model and sharing the data, leveraging the data, being smarter way to operate, and this will bring a lot better in terms of efficiency, turnaround, all of those aspects. So this is where we see from the airport operation side. On the sustainability side, which we've been doing another great thing, which I think Air India as well as Indigo and Akasa are the good example of with our Opti Climb, Opti Descent, which is basically helping to reduce the fuel consumption in terms of the flight takeoff and the landing. So this is the another aspect of reducing the cost and then also reducing the carbon footprint. So a lot of these are way technology is kind of putting forward to address the sustainable growth.
Any questions? I think basically they work to improve the efficiency of the airline systems, better passenger experience and all. So any thoughts on the products and services Sita is giving? Good, they have no complaints with you. Yes, please.
Sir, ERA is in the process of bringing some regulations which will have actually key performance indicators for actually for airport, but translated for airlines and all, like first baggage, last baggage, and queues at check-in counters and all those things. So does Sita has any plan so that these KPIs can be measured accurately by airport operator and which can assist us to monitor that and maintain? These are two examples, but number of key parameters of that sort are coming, which will be a challenge to measure and maintain at airports.
Okay, so if I rephrase your question, so it's basically you're saying that is there a data visibility for common KPIs?
I think I'll rephrase the question. He's asking that ERA has fixed some standards.
Yeah.
Okay, whether the airports are adhering to those standards or not, would your data be able to throw up some information on? This is the question. You can briefly answer, otherwise you can take it aside. Yeah, this is between the two. It's a good point.
Yeah.
It helps in better regulation of the airports if your data can be used. That's the point he's making.
Yes, so the data is available. You can have that visible data by the airport, so those can be made available.
A simple example is how much time it takes for a person to check in.
Yeah.
ERA says it should not take more than 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah.
Now, you should be able to tell us, yes,
Correct.
it is taking within 3 minutes. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
It should be possible.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think we have flown enough and it's time to land, and you cannot land without the airport authority. So we have Mr. Shantanu Palnikar, ED Land Management AI. Please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, sir. Sir, you said that airline is the major service provider to the passenger. So we are the major service provider to airlines. So that is how we are related to airlines. Two areas where we provide services majorly is infrastructure and air navigation services. So we are building infrastructure to cater to the needs of the increasing passenger, increasing air connectivity through UDAN, through other schemes. On other area where we are helping airlines are in creating FTOs and MROs. We provide land for FTOs and MROs. And we are making new policies so that it can be made easy for people to build FTOs, MROs for pilots and the maintenance of the aircraft. And that is also not.
I think if I throw open the house for questions to airport authority or questions amongst us, I can say. Yes, please.
Datia, Ajamgarh, UP 45, even Tura, only one inaugural flight started. My basic question from airlines, are they having any plans for the small aircraft or ATRs or now just stop? And all because of the unavailability of aircrafts. Why you are not focusing for the small aircraft also? Because in recent we are going.
Got a point. I think airlines may respond. The stalwarts are not here, so.
I can say that as a young airline, we need to grow as a single fleet operator for some time. It'll help us build scale at a lower cost structure because you have a single engine, you've got a single set of pilot training requirements, and so we are not in a position to have a multi-fleet strategy today. Perhaps some of our bigger cousins might be. Indigo already has ATRs, I think so does Air India. You've got Star Air that's operating 50-seat and 75-seat regional jets. So I think there is availability of small aircraft. I just think we need to have a set of circumstances that attract this limited set of small aircrafts, these specific airports that you have mentioned.
Okay. So any concluding remarks from your side?
I have one question to Air India Express and Akasa. Here.
Which side? Oh, yeah.
Do we have any plan to bring IFC solution to our Indian aircrafts?
What solution?
IFC, in-flight connectivity for especially Air India Express.
In-flight connectivity, okay.
So you said Akasa and Air India Express, maybe because we're just the sort of the remaining folks here. I can tell you that for us, we need to have legislation that opens up domestic in-flight connectivity before we look at an all-fleet solution. I think the larger airlines can segregate it by wide bodies and not have it on narrow bodies. We don't have that option. We have narrow bodies that fly both domestic and international. And we will not consider this, not that we will do it, but we will not consider this until it's allowed in all of domestic flying. And that's the only time where it becomes cost-effective for an airline like us that operates only narrow bodies.
Okay, thank you. Now I think I've been told to wind up. So it's a very daunting task before me to wind up this diverse discussion we have had. But then before I conclude, let me share my thoughts with you that running this session was something like running an airline. You know, when you run an airline in Indian system or anywhere in the world, we are so highly regulated that we become highly obedient. We just follow directions. So I was told that session should end at 3 o'clock. So I went fast. Then someone came and whispered in my ear, sir, 3:20. So again I stretched. And lo and behold, at 3:20 they say, sir, please extend till 3:40. So I think we have, as a true airliner, I have been able to obey all the directions. So obedience is in the genes of airliners. So thank you very much. Now let me try to sum it up. Well, we have a very rapidly growing Indian market, no doubt about it, huge potential, but then it needs to be tapped and it does not happen easily. There are challenges. And the challenges are, I think Mr. RK was saying, the biggest challenge is that let's look at the cost structure of the airlines also. We can keep hammering the airlines, bring down the fares and all those things, but let's look at the cost structure also. And there are several costs which are beyond the control of airlines. So these costs need to be looked into, and it's in everybody's interest that airlines become viable. So that's a very good point made by them. Another point made was about the human resources. Yes, human resources, airlines do have a responsibility. Now it's not that, and when I talk of human resources, it's not confined to pilot training only. We have human resource requirement in all fields, managerial. Means you will find it very difficult. Even today, you do not have managers in aviation. So there's a big gap to be fulfilled. And so the second challenge is the human resources to be developed and managed, and airlines should discharge their responsibility in this direction. Then we have the FTOs and the airlines. Yes, there has to be a close connect between the FTOs and the airlines, the FTO supply, but ensuring standards in FTOs, the airlines should move in and ensure that we get the best quality pilots in the country, and at least our cadets need not go abroad for any kind of training. That's all we can ensure. Aviation is an extremely price-sensitive market. Yes, aviation is, and Indian market, as it is price-sensitive. So aviation plus Indian market makes it doubly price-sensitive. So I would say that airlines should take care that they realize this. They are operating in a very price-sensitive market, and they are judged by the public by this price sensitivity. Well, there are smaller airlines. They have their own problems. They have problems of viability, and that should not be dismissed. It is the smaller airlines which are connecting the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, and they are bringing traffic to the Tier 1 cities. And so it is in interest of everybody that these smaller airlines and their connectivity to Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities is made in a robust manner. It is strengthened. And last but not the least, the air services agreement. I think we were all very diplomatic, and we use some very good words that it should be transparent, we should be liberal and all. But it's far more complex, and I think all of you agree that our airlines should get a fair deal, or more than a fair deal, as far as the rights of airlines are concerned in these air services agreement. Well, these were one important thing was financing of aircraft. Some good steps have been taken place. You are all aware the Cape Town Convention has been enacted into a law. We have leasing which have started from the shores of India. Now these are very important steps, and with so many huge aircraft orders, if airlines could just push them, that if the leasing can take place from Indian cities. So that's one more. So it's a very interesting discussion, and as I think Alok was saying, that we can keep on discussing endlessly. Each issue can be there, and there are several issues. But then yes, we had a meaningful discussion. We arrived at some conclusions, and most importantly, we were able to, our operation was totally on time. Thank you very much.